friends. I I spoke yesterday and the day before about the this cleanse that my wife and I are doing. 2 weeks. We're on day 3. Pardon me. And I'm doing my post right after waking up, if you can't tell, because overnight I had a pretty intense set of dreams, not in the sense of them being bad or somehow unpleasant, but it feels like I've lived 6 months worth of life over the course of the night. And there was just a volume of psychic experience that seemed to take place. And it reminded me that this physical cleanse we do is almost primarily, but certainly also a consciousness cleansing. It's taking what's in my psychic space and clearing the clutter. And there's nothing like some physical intensity to do that for you. And I will say, for those who are kind of following, thinking, maybe I'll do something like this. The usual pattern is, especially if you're not accustomed to eating a raw vegan diet. Now, I have some familiarity with this because I was raw vegan for a good 18 months, almost 2 years, almost exclusively, pretty strictly, with maybe a handful of exceptions in there somewhere, but basically not. Basically, I was really dedicated to that diet and that lifestyle for about 2 years. And then I switched to being vegetarian, but I allowed some dairy into my life. I allowed a little cooked food into my life. And so, in other words, I know a lot about this journey. But if you've never done it before, the first thing that happens is your body kind of goes into revolt. It feels like revolt. What's really happening is your body's switching modes because it's become accustomed to holding on to and managing, compensating for a bunch of stuff that's not only not necessary to your system, but is probably adverse for your system to be consuming. And so your body goes into a kind of flip mode where all the compensatory mechanisms are still trying to operate, but you're not giving it the things it's used to compensating for. And so there can be a real discomfort in the system, in the intestines, for a day or two. That usually calms down for me. And for me, this time, because we were eating nothing even remotely resembling a raw vegan diet when we started, right up to the day before we started, Um, we were somewhere else, and then we started. And so day one, you start out in the morning, have a fruit salad, everything feels good. Day goes by, we had a really tasty smoothie in the middle of the day. I was like, yes, this is good. Well, sometime in the afternoon is when my body kind of clocked. Wait a minute, is this we're not getting? Okay, and it was like my whole system kind of experienced that transition. For me, by day two, yesterday was better. I had already kind of like, because again, I've done this before. My system has a familiar place it can go. It knows how this works. It knows. I feel like I've mapped the territory of my body, and it kind of knows how to do it. So day two, day three, like today, you will see. At the beginning of the day, it's always hard to tell. It really kind of matters how the day goes, and if you have a lot of interaction with people, that can have an effect. Because for me, being around people, it's a stimulant, right? And we've oftentimes built up in our food consumption. We've built up layers to kind of numb ourselves, for lack of a better word. Um, we're buffering against incoming stimuli. So it's nice if you can have a little time that's a little more contemplative, a little more, um, solitary, but it's not always possible. I've been pretty active the last couple of days. Kate has been extremely active and working her normal job. The weekend will be nice for her. But but I think, so all that is to say, this is somewhat to reflect the experience that I'm having. If anyone else is interested in trying this, I'm trying to give you a bit of a roadmap. And I'm also, the other thing I woke up with, though, this morning after this giant dreamscape unfolded in my mind, was a sense of lightness. I just woke up feeling lighter. And that feels really good. That is a real kind of, it's a real sense that, okay, here we go. Like the detox is already starting to manifest in the feeling in my system. I think my system is doing this quickly because as much as we don't eat a kind of super vegan diet during our normal lives, I do have several practices, hydration practices and things where I kind of take care of my system in the mornings in terms of getting some water in there. I drink a large mason jar of water with lemon juice and lime juice in it, fresh. I squeeze a lemon, squeeze a lime, and I drink that on an empty stomach essentially every single morning. Both because we live in New Mexico and I need to hydrate like crazy here. I drink at least 64 ounces, if not more like 96 ounces, approaching a full gallon before breakfast most days, and that sets me up for my hydration to then feel good during the day. That's distributed over a couple of hours, 2-3 hours, but it's if I don't do that, then I'm dehydrated, which in most environments, if you don't live in a desert, high altitude desert, that'd be excessive. But I noticed that my system embraced this very quickly. I think my system has a light detox mechanism built into daily life And so this was just like upping the dosage a little bit, but my body kind of embraced it. Um, but so I'm kind of, pleasantly surprised, I would say, with where this feels like it's taking my mind already on day 3. At the beginning of day 3, I already feel like I'm letting go of some stuff psychically. I'm moving. I'm making movement psychically, and we'll see where that goes. But you know how sometimes you wake up in the morning and there'll be a pain in your body, and over time, as you age, if you're under 30 or 35 listening to this, you may not have had this experience but your body, so you wake up with a certain pain in the body, and at some point start to realize, oh, this isn't just something that happens when I sleep. I'm not just doing this by sleeping funny every night. There's some kind of tension in my body that's compulsive, that's pulls me out of balance. Well, I have those. In case you can't figure that out from what I've just said. And again, I try to be pretty rigorous about my physical practices, about the things that clear physical tension. Just because I don't know what I would do if I didn't. I don't know what I'd feel like. I would not feel good. So I'm pretty disciplined about working with that tension, but that doesn't mean that it goes away fully. But this morning, I woke up after a decent night's sleep. Went to bed a little late, and I felt, oh, my system's letting go of some of that tension. Some of that physical stuff is dissolving away. It's a really good feeling. And it speaks to the impact, the sort of significant impact that a practice like this, like a detox, cleanse thing can really do. It's again, I think my system is responding quickly. I don't know that this would happen as quickly for anyone, but the fact is, it will happen. It would happen, and it will happen, even if you're kind of going from 0 to 60 with this. It would happen reliably and in such a way that you can build on it, for sure. Our system knows what it needs. The human body knows what it needs. And one of that 2 years that I spent being raw vegan was some of the most powerful learning I ever did, because I learned so much about, first of all, in the exit from my previous way of eating, I learned so much about what my cravings were. I learned so much about, what's a food craving that's just a habitual attachment to a kind of food that's really not that healthy for me. What's a food craving that represents a need in my body that I need to satisfy in some way, or else it's not going to be healthy, because there's that happens too. And then how do I kind of tell the difference? How can I become so conscious of my own relationship to nutrition, to food, to my digestion, to the way to my body's energy level, How can I become so conscious of that I can truly tell what I'm the effect that anything has that I put in my system, whether it's elevating me or depleting me. That was a huge practice. And even though I don't necessarily intend to become a full raw vegan again, it was a deeply informative time. And I do something like this, and I'm like, oh right, there's a bunch of really good, there's a bunch of really important aspects to this that inform me and that enliven me in some really significant ways. So I can only recommend trying this out. Yeah, give it a shot. We're doing the Ajuva cleanse. If you didn't see my uh, post from yesterday. Have a great day, folks. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I will see you soon.